a really weird thing with these where, so I have to bite the ends off, then nibble along the thick bit on the bottom, then nibble all the chocolate off the coating, then almost pull the sponge apart, then lick out the cream. Ooh. Hey everyone, it's James at Amused Bouche. Can I make it? Can I make it? Can I make it? We're going to do another Can I Make It today. Today we are doing... Hello. Cadbury's chocolate... Okay. Cadbury's chocolate mini rolls. The theory is, should be quite straightforward. A chocolate sponge, some sort of vanilla-y white filling, covered in chocolate. What could be more simple than that? It's going to be a laugh, isn't it? It's going to be a laugh. Let's crack into one of these. So this is the mini roll. It always tends to be very crumbly, I think. But also we've got this very interesting effect on the top. How have they done that? I bet you, I should cut it. Hang on. I need a little knife. Just like one little roll of cream. With all the chocolate off, obviously the sponge, quite light. But we can sort of unroll it. Oh no, we can't. It's quite dry and it sort of falls apart. Cream's an interesting one. It's very light, you know? Weird way to do this show, isn't it? As I said at the beginning, it's a sponge, it's some cream, it's some chocolate over it. We'll give it a go. Let's get to it. To kick things off, we're going to need to make a sponge. A Swiss roll sponge, to be precise. This is a sponge that doesn't actually have any fat in it, so it gets all of its richness and structure from the eggs. We're going to need 3 eggs, 100 grams of caster sugar, 30 grams of cocoa powder, 80 grams of plain flour, a half teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Let's start with the eggs. Crack them all into a bowl and add your teaspoon of vanilla and then get whisking. You've really got to give it some here to get as much air in as possible. In fact, do you know what? This isn't good enough. Let's head across the kitchen. Now, it pains me to try and use this old mixer. You know, the lead's too short, it overheats within 3 minutes, and it takes a lifetime to volumise anything. But until the lovely people at Kitchenaid send me a new sexy stand mixer, I've got to use what's around me. So I'm whipping up the eggs until they get nice and thick and have doubled in volume. Then slowly, while continuing to mix, we're going to add the sugar until your eggs are nice and glossy and thick. Thick there being spelt THIIICCCCCCC. Back over at the kitchen unit, and we're going to add 30 millilitres of warm milk to our cocoa powder. We're going to give it a mix up and basically turn it into a nice chocolatey paste. This is an attempt to steer clear of getting any lumps in your cake batter. Mix it into your eggs until your batter is now a deep, beautiful brown colour. Then into your flour bowl, we're going to add the half teaspoon of baking powder, give them a little mix together, again using a sieve here to try and avoid any lumps. Then we're going to very gently fold the flour through the eggs. We want to keep as much volume as possible. Keep going until you don't have any of the sort of streaks of flour left in the mixture. And there you have it, your sponge batter. We're going to take a shallow baking tray, and I'm just lying a silicone mat in the bottom, but you could use baking paper. As you can see, I'm lubing up the edges here, just in case it spreads out and sticks to the sides. Actually, do you know what? Sod it. Let's lube it all up. We're going to spread butter across the whole thing so the sponge doesn't stick. Pour your batter onto the tray and tilt it to spread it evenly across the surface. This goes into a 180 degrees Celsius oven, and it's going to go in there for about 15 minutes. To check it's cooked, pop a little toothpick into the centre. As long as it comes out clean, you're all good to go. It's not going to take that long at all because it's so thin. Once it's done, take it out and let it cool on a cooling rack. The next thing we're going to need to make is the buttercream. Into a bowl goes 100 grams of butter. Just get the mixer on it to loosen up the butter a little. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at that. Kitchenaid, I mean, please, look at this. It's ridiculous. If you are having to try and do this without the aid of a stand mixer, then a good idea is to wrap a nice damp towel around the bottom of the bowl, like a little scarf, and it should hold it in place. Then we're measuring out 200 grams of icing sugar and adding a little at a time as we mix it in. Again, use the towel scarf. Keep mixing and adding the sugar, and it will slowly come together as a creamy icing. The scarf is shit, isn't it? That's not helping at all. Next, we're going to need some chocolate. And what better chocolate to use than Cadbury's, because that's what's covering those little logs of lust. Stick it in a bain-marie or a bowl over some simmering water and just leave it and let it do its thing. Back to the sponge, and we're going to do our best impression of a plasterer. Cover the surface with a smooth, even layer of buttercream. Once you've covered the surface, we're going to pull the sponge from each end into the middle. The reason for this is that we don't want one massive swirl through the middle. It needs to only be a single swirl. So that's why we're going to meet in the middle. Plus, it would be absolutely huge. Cut down the middle of the sponge and press it together slightly. Once you've got your little log, cut it down into the sort of preferred size of a mini roll. Size of a mini roll. I mean, who are we kidding? Look at this thing. Like it's been on bloody roids for the last 6 months. When you've got your mini roll, we're going to dip the bottom into some chocolate. Then we're going to put that on a baking tray and let it firm up in the fridge for about half an hour. This way it means that we've got a real solid base to the mini roll. Got to stop calling it a mini roll, really. Just roll. When they've had their time in the fridge to firm up, we're going to bring them back out, put them on a little rack like this, and we're going to pour the rest of the chocolate over the cake. As you can see, the chocolate's thickened up. Excellent. Which isn't great, and it means that basically I've got to now sort of paint the chocolate onto the mini roll. Once you've covered the roll in melted chocolate, get it back in the fridge for an hour just to let the chocolate solidify up. Overnight will really firm things up, and then you can take it out and enjoy. And you'll enjoy it. It's chocolate, it's sugar, it's buttercream, it's sponge. But truth be told, I've done prettier shits. The goo, I got confident in it. I got confident in doing the goo. I went, yeah, that'll be easy, that'll be fine. Now, as you can see, we've given it a good go. We've got the mini roll on your left. It's sort of like ugly mutant brother next to it. It's like the Hulk. Like if the mini roll got really angry, like that's what you'd end up with. I think that unless you've got a machine, you can't do this. I don't think you can do it unless you've got a machine. Fly. Right, let's cut into it and see how it looks. Okay. It's big. There's no denying that. It's big. So yeah, it's not worked out amazingly well. I'm going to just try it. The sponge isn't great. Obviously I've used buttercream, but I don't think that really works. I just don't think it's worth trying to make a mini roll. I can go down the shop and buy that. And just absorb that. So, can I make it? No. On this occasion, no. If you've got any ideas for things that you'd like to see me try and make, please comment below on the YouTube video or on the Facebook video. Give me some ideas as to what you want to see me make. I'll see you next time.